too good engine starts, you're clear to disconnect the headset. We'll see you on the left with the pin. Thanks a lot. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. I'm sure you've seen this clip about 1 billion times on the internet already. This appears to be a Russian Su-27, I think it's an Su-27SM actually, doing a pass over a US Reaper over the Black Sea, dumping some fuel. And apparently they did 9 passes overall, I believe, according to the US. And obviously in one of the passes, as we know, it has almost certainly hit the Reaper, or the tail of the Reaper, on this pass right here. At least damages the propeller, as can be seen from the following clip. And I thought it would be interesting to recreate this very same scenario in DCS world, just to see from a flying and piloting perspective exactly what the pilot may have been experiencing and seeing during this pass, and whether or not this hit was actually intentional or unintentional. Now, one thing to mention is that in my recreation, I believe I came in just a tiny bit lower, from a little bit lower down than the Su-27 in the actual footage. But I believe the closure rates are roughly similar. So this is probably what the pilot would have been seeing. He put the belly up to the aircraft here. It all happens in a split second in the end. And just totally misjudges it and hits the tail. And due to the design of the Reaper, it's almost certainly that he has actually hit one of the V-tails as well, and not just the propeller. So we're interested to see what obviously the damage is to the Su-27. In my particular case, I've lost part of a wing. Basically, I believe this was piloting error, piloting mistake. Now, I'd be very interested to know why they were dumping fuel. If somebody would want to comment down in the comments down below and hazard some guesses as to why they may have been doing that, because to me it makes no sense. I mean, effectively, it just condenses and turns into nothing more than a cloud, and which is absolutely no issue for any aircraft, really. So why exactly they were trying to do it, or were they just messing around with it and basically saying that, look, we can do this, you can't do anything back? I don't know. I'm really not sure. Now, I have tried to recreate the scene as accurately as I possibly could. We know exactly the date and the time of day that this has happened, and we also can see from the reflection of the sun in the water in the actual footage and position the drone flying roughly in the correct direction, which in our particular case would be to the northwest. I did have to guess the altitude and the speed at which the Reaper was flying, which is obviously quite difficult to tell from the video. Now, I'm sure a lot of you will know that these things can operate up to 50-odd thousand feet. I believe that in this particular case, just based off the reflection in the water and the waves, which I know is not all that much to go by and could create lots of optical illusions, I believe it was flying much lower, closer to around 20,000 feet. And they do often operate around about that altitude, so that's why in my recreation here I just kind of tried to match the reflections in the water, which I understand potentially is prone to error, so don't judge me on that. Now, after this point, I've tried to take it in for a little bit of a challenging landing. As you can see, this reminded me of that Israeli F-15 that had its wing cut off. In that particular case, of course, the damage was even worse than on this Su-27, but I thought it'd be fun to just come in and see if we can land. There's a massive crosswind, as you could tell, and as I come in here and make a mistake, I pull up for a flare and I actually stall one of the wings, quite understandably, because as you can see, one wing is missing. So stall that right side, and that's why it's such a messy landing. The ideal scenario here would have been to just not really flare all that much, just accept the harder landing without stalling the aircraft. So that's it, folks. I would love to hear your comments down below, especially as to why the Su-27s were dumping fuel onto the Reaper. To me, it makes absolutely no sense, because I don't believe that any sensors or anything would have been damaged. Even if they had just literally poured it with fuel sitting stationary on the ground, it would have just evaporated within about 1 minute and would have been absolutely fine. So I absolutely just, I don't get it at all. But with that said, I hope you've enjoyed this little recreation. It did take me about 7 hours, by the way, to recreate this, and about 3,000 attempts. So if you do appreciate, please smash the living daylight out of the like button, subscribe for future videos, and hopefully I shall catch you in the next one. Adios!